Hi everyone, my name is Veronica Victoria and I am a master trainer with the LeapScholar. Today I have done an analysis of the video and I am going to tell you how to move or to increase your band from a band 7 and upwards, right? So please do follow the video and check out all the places where I have suggested the students for the student for improvement, and do practice them accordingly. Good morning, my name is Veronica Victoria. What is your full name?
Good morning, my name is Shivangi and you can call me Shivangi.
Hi Shivangi. Alright students, if you look in this video, the candidate has worn her watch and there is a phone on the table. Please note that during your exam, you are not allowed to carry a phone and you're not allowed to wear a watch as well, right? So please make note of these things before you go for your exam. Shivangi, we are going to start this round with questions about yourself, alright? So, where are you from?
I am from New Delhi, but currently I am working in Bangalore.
Alright, and what are you currently doing?
I am working as a brand manager at a startup in Bangalore.
Okay. What are some things that you like about your job?
I get to collaborate with a lot of people, and my role allows me to be as creative as possible to make sure that the marketing goals are able to achieve the business goals of the organization.
Let's talk about fashion and clothes now. What kind of clothes do you usually wear?
Because the dress code at my workplace is semi-formal and smart casuals, I usually prefer wearing that.
Do you like shopping for clothes?
I do. I do shop on online apps as well as offline in stores and malls as well.
Okay. How often do you buy clothes online?
I prefer to buy clothes whenever there are good discounts going on.
Okay. The student has been speaking really well so far. She has maintained the structure of the part 1 where she's supposed to answer 2 to 3 sentences for each answer. However, at this point in time, you can see she has made a grammatical mistake. So she said, instead of, she could have said, I prefer to, instead of I prefer to, right? So these are certain small slips that cause a little variation in the band and in your scoring.
Which is usually the case nowadays on all online apps. So once or twice a month is something that I happen to do.
Would you say that clothes are expensive in your country?
Not too expensive. There's a wide variety of price ranges and options, and I would say, however, that they don't burn a hole in your pocket. At this point or in this stage of the test, the candidate has also used the medium, they don't burn a hole in your pocket. Alright, and she used it very aptly to her answer, which was, she did a great job there. The number of connectors and linkers also were flowing with the answers that she was giving. Alright, let's move on to family now. Do you prefer to live with your family or alone? I have just moved outside of my hometown and currently living alone, so I'm enjoying this experience, but I do miss my family and I prefer living with them.
How many generations live in your home?
We are 2 generations living in my native home.
Over here, the candidate could have expanded and maybe given, spoken about who all are there. This was an opportunity for her to expand her answer on who all are currently staying in her home, though she's staying away from home, but who all are there right now in her home. So that would again, help her to elaborate her answer and maybe score those brownie points. Have you ever lived alone?
Yes, I just started living alone recently.
Okay. And how has your family influenced you?
They have been able to give me a good value system to hold on to, which helps me cope up with all the situations when I'm living alone.
Right. Let's talk about games. Do you play any indoor games?
Yes, I do. I like to play sports like carom and badminton.
Okay. Any particular reason as to why those games?
Both the games are competitive and collaborative at the same time. And I enjoy playing them.
Do you prefer to play indoor or outdoor games?
I prefer to play outdoor games.
Why? So, students, I would like to just bring to your notice over here that do not allow the examiner or do not give a chance to the examiner to ask why, right? Try to expand your answer and it should be relevant to the question asked. Try not to, don't give a chance to the examiner to ask why, where, and what. Try to expand and elaborate on the same.
There's a lot of physical activity involved, and it helps to keep up with your fitness levels.
Okay. What kind of indoor games did you play when you were a child?
I used to play a lot of video games and carom with my sibling and cousins during summer vacations. Those are one of my fond memories from childhood.
So over here, uh, I think the student, she should have said when I was young, or when I was small. Okay, you could have said instead of saying directly shooting out the answer. Please try to paraphrase the question. Try to paraphrase the question. Don't parrot the question. Don't parrot just as the examiner has asked you. Please try to use paraphrasing of the same question. This again would give an opportunity to the examiner to understand that your skills of speaking are quite good. Okay, so Shivangi, what we are going to do now is I'm going to give you your question, a notebook, and your stationery. You have 1 minute to prepare on the question. Thereafter, you'll have to speak for 2 minutes. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, your question for part 2 is describe a time when you felt incredibly sad.
Okay. I consider myself to be an extrovert and I like to socialize and meet my friends. So during the pandemic, when we were under a lockdown, I did feel incredibly sad because there was no opportunity to go out and meet people. I don't remember the exact date when the lockdown was announced, but it was somewhere between March or April 2020. The lockdown was announced because COVID-19 was fairly new at that time. We did not have the right treatments or vaccines to understand the effects of the disease itself, and it was very important to stay indoors and stay safe so that you stay healthy at home. And to tackle the sadness, I use a lot of apps and phone calls to stay connected to my loved ones. We played a lot of games on apps like Zoom and made sure that we don't feel isolated. Which also reminds me of Zoom, which was a great tool and an app to connect with a large group of people, which was not possible for us to do on a WhatsApp or a telephone as such. People initially had apprehensions about the app, and there was a learning curve to understand how to get a group together. But it actually helped me connect really well with my colleagues and friends in a remote setting. It also helped us learn how to work more collaboratively online and did not make us miss the presence of an office environment. All right. So if you see in this part, in the part 2, that which is your cue card, the candidate was a little tense and a little nervous. Words were not coming out as fluently as it should have or could have, though you can understand from the candidate she knows a lot, she can speak a lot, but because of having or being nervous, she was not able to speak fluently during this session. Hence the number of fillers like there were a lot of fillers that were seen over here. Also, she was taking time to answer, so she's not comfortable. She's not comfortable. This goes to show that you need to practice a little bit more, because maybe we are able to speak for 2 minutes with a friend or with your colleagues, but when you are sitting for an examination, that 2 minutes also is going to seem forever, right? So please do practice. Do practice your cue cards sincerely. At least do one cue card every day. In order for you to understand the time sense, it will become a habit for you. It will become a habit. You will get used to it. You will know how much to speak, how
when to stop, and what you need to do. Apart from that, if you look at the vocabulary and all, it kept coming. Her words could have been better. She's using good vocabulary, but I think she has got ability and capability to use much more better words during her speaking. Let's move on to the next part. All right, let us talk about a few questions related to being sad or depression. Okay, how can being sad affects one's productivity?
Emotional health and physical health go hand in hand. If you're sad, you're not able to focus on any of your important tasks, or you lose motivation to do things in life. So it is very important to maintain your emotional health to be able to function well physically.
Over here, maybe the student could have expanded her answer a little bit more, because as per the structure of part 3, it's always good to answer your questions in 4 to 5 sentences, right? So maybe she could have cited an example, maybe for instance, for example, such as like, and maybe give an instance of how people are using certain facilities to cope up with depression, and how it has become, people have become more aware about it. Even organization, being a working woman, she could have explained, maybe cited an example of maybe her organization conducting such kind of sessions for people just to keep them calm, to hear them out and things like that. That would have been a good finish to her question. What do people usually do to tackle depression?
People prefer to talk to someone that they can confide in, and they also prefer to work out and keep themselves busy to overcome that emotion.
How are mental health issues looked upon in your country?
Initially, they were supposed to be a taboo, and people were not very comfortable opening up about their mental issues. But because of the influence of books and movies, people are more comfortable talking about these issues now.
Is therapy a good solution to tackle depression?
It is a self-exploratory session, and it allows you to speak to someone who could understand your issues on a deeper level. So it is definitely a good tool to understand the root cause of your problems.
Thank you, Shivangi. That was the end of your speaking test.
Thank you.
Alright, so all in all, for this video, I would say that the candidate did a good job. She could have improved on her vocabulary a little bit more. Slight places, there were slips in her, mistakes in the sentence structure, which can be improved on. Her pace was quite good initially. Again, it became slow. Again, it picked up towards the end. This again causes a lot of variation in, it makes the examiner believe that the person is not fluent, or they are thinking before speaking, words are not coming out too fast. I would give this candidate a band 7, but you can improve yourself, and if you want to push yourself up a band and a half to 8.5, then please follow my suggestions and feedback as given in the video.